talking about power, as we had the live went in a different direction yesterday. So I will be asking you 4 questions today. And those are the 4 questions. And let me flip back the camera. Okay, so good morning. I am Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers. Welcome to Everyday Brain for Everyday Life, where we take everyday actions and we unpack them one neural pathway at a time. Today is questions for you, and I'm going to ask you the question, and then you're going to answer the question. Then I'm going to give you the neuroscience and the brain circuitry behind the answers to those questions. So the first question for you this amazing Monday morning is, what is your definition of power? What is your personal definition of power and how it works over here? If you plan to answer the question prior to answering the question, as Denise just indicated, a brain emoji, a thinking emoji, a ellipse, a buffering emoji, I'm thinking something to let me know that you actually plan to engage in this interaction this morning, as well as it gives your brain time to pause and reflect and then answer with your best possible response. So the question this morning is, what is your definition of power? Denise said, influence or control over persons, places, or things. My nose is running. Caramel Brunet, remember you need to put your brain or thinking emoji or something first before you answer. Good morning, Ivana, Kia. And what happened to you during a 7-day trial? You messaged me on Instagram and then crickets. What's up with that? Good morning, Daisy. Did you hear me, Caramel Brunet? You put it? I didn't see it. I apologize. Let me go back. You know what? It didn't show up on my end. I didn't see it. Okay. So yeah, it didn't show up, and that happens on TikTok sometimes. You said the ability to make change. Yeah, it didn't show up. It's all good. Because you are becoming a regular. Caramel Bunny, I do have a question for you. When you going to start your 7-day neural rep free trial on Instagram? Because you've been back too many times to not have started. What's up with that? And Kia, you too. What's up with that? And then Daisy, what's your answer to definition of power? And I'm saying that because listening to me is not enough. Listening to me every day. And while I appreciate the audience and the engagement, the objective is for you to have a strong prefrontal cortex. Nope. No, ma'am. Wrong answer. This is going to get you to start a schedule. You're not going to be able, that's backwards. You're not going to be able to start a schedule. No, ma'am. Power is control. Thank you for your answer. Both of y'all need to go to Instagram today because it's not, you need to strengthen your prefrontal cortex so you can do anything. It's not the other way around. As soon as I get ready, you're never going to be ready for this. It's never going to happen. This is what's going to get you ready for everything. You use your brain for everything, and you're trying to use your brain to get a schedule first, but your brain ain't strong enough to get, if your brain was strong enough to get you a schedule, you'd already have a schedule. That's not how it works. It happens on, if you're going to get ready, you're going to find out how ready or not ready you are on Instagram. That's how that works. People have had to start over there multiple times, but it's going to show you where the outages actually are. That's what it's going to do. Okay, well, go ahead and hatch that shit. You should be over there before I finish my YouTube live. All right. My definition of power is me being in control. Caramel Bunny, are you still on here? What is your answer? Because it's not going to work the other way around. It isn't. And thank you for those of you who've answered. So the neuroscience behind power is this. Power is the brain's capacity to regulate itself and act intentionally under pressure. Under pressure. It's the brain's capacity to regulate itself and act intentionally under pressure. And that is what I continue to say to people who have in the past come to have me explain my work. My work works under pressure. When you strengthen your prefrontal cortex, your brain will function as it needs to function under pressure, which is everyday life. So at the neural level, power is not dominance. It is top-down control. And once we finish talking about the ACC, I will be addressing top-down versus bottom-up on the morning mental workouts. The ability of the prefrontal cortex to override emotional, habitual, or socially conditioned impulses. I'm going to say that again. At the neural level, it's not dominance. It is a top-down approach, which means prefrontal cortex down. The ability of the prefrontal cortex to override emotional, habitual, and social conditioning for impulses. That's what it is. That's power. That's actual neurological brain power. Is when your prefrontal cortex is so strong that some emotional dysregulated things that comes towards you, you just like, wants to fly, some mosquitoes, swat that. And this social conditioning, the social judgment theory, social conformity theory doesn't work on you anymore because you have full cognition. You have the power of your amazing brain. And then the habitual things that you used to do that didn't serve you well are no longer there to impact you because you created new, better habits in the basal ganglia because you have a strong prefrontal cortex. So neural reps are basal ganglia habit-inducing reps for you to start doing everything else that you wanted to do in life. Because without emotional regulation and a strong prefrontal cortex, you're going to be stuck where you are. You're going to be exactly where you are. You might spin the block, but you're going to end up, how if you go to the mall and you look at the kiosk and it says you are here, and then you walk around the whole mall and then you leave where you came because that's where you parked your car. That's what you're doing. You're taking a trip around the mall, but you are exiting in the same. So you're the same. You might have some bags with you, but the same you that walked in is the same you that's going to leave out because it's just this nice little doom loop that you're in. And that's why you're finishing and starting and quitting and quitting and starting and starting and quitting and quitting and starting. Can't really seem to get anything off the ground because your prefrontal cortex doesn't have the power that it needs. So when someone cannot define power, it usually means their definition was externally installed. So look at your definition of power. And is that your definition of power, or did you get it from an external source? So did it have to do with status, approval, money, and roles, rather than internally constructed? So the brain circuits that were involved in this were the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. I refer to her as Miss Darlene. That's executive control and internal decision making. Did you develop this definition of power from your own internal thought processes and decisions? The ventral medial prefrontal cortex, that's Uncle Vinny. So values integration, self-trust, and internal authority. The ACC, anterior cingulate cortex, is Miss Brenda Jones, and that's the conflict monitoring values versus impulses versus social pressure. So was your definition your own values, or was it some external source put together with it, or did you just take the definition of power that has been given to you by an external source? And then the amygdala, and that's threat signaling, often mislabeling loss of approval as danger. So what's happening is if you thought power was this external, then that's your amygdala saying, ooh, they got power and I don't. Ooh, they're powerful and I'm not. So if you can't define power, your brain will borrow someone else's power. If you can't define it, your brain will borrow someone else's definition of power. And so when people tell me, oh, they are large and in charge, they are a powerful person, I will kindly tell them that person is filling a role. And if that person happens to no longer be in that role, that another person will fill that role. So does that person actually have power, or does the role bring the power with it? If someone is the president of an organization and the CEO of the organization and they leave and retire, is that person still powerful, or is the position at that organization a powerful position? And that's why it takes people so long to retire as colonels and generals and CEOs and presidents of companies, because they know when they leave that position, the power stays with that title. And that's what happens. So now they have to walk in a room and they're not the CEO of PepsiCo. They're not the president of this. They're not the elected official. They're just a regular person. And that's how you know who actually still has leadership and a command presence, because the title is the afterthought, but who they are is the person walking around with power. That's why when people get in leadership positions and they're terrible leaders, people don't understand why. I thought this person knew what they were doing. I thought this person was going to do a great job. And then you find out how powerless they actually are, because remember, the definition is the brain's capacity to regulate itself and act intentionally under pressure. So just because someone has a title doesn't mean they actually have neurological power. It is top-down control and the ability for their prefrontal cortex to override emotion, habitual habits, and social conditioned impulses. So if they're doing it to be popular, then they're not going to make the hard right over the easy wrong. They're not going to make the tough decisions. They're not going to treat people fairly. They're not going to handle conflict when it occurs, because they actually don't have power. They actually don't have power. So if you are perplexed by somebody, whether it is someone you know or someone you see, they actually don't have power. Power looks different. Someone with a command presence, you can see somebody in the grocery store, even in their casual clothes, and go, oh yeah, they the shit at their job. They're running things because of the power that is emitting from them. You know that they have it, and you're not confused by that power. Okay, what questions do you have about power now that I've given you the neuroscience definition? And if you don't have any questions, type NQ. Are you there? Okay. I'm like, everything stopped. Did I freeze? My lives used to freeze. I found an old video in my phone. Every 13 to 17 minutes, my lives used to freeze, and I used to have to go out and come back in. I totally forgot about that. It happened every day for an hour. Denise is thinking. Gotta love perimenopause and the birthday. Daisy is thinking. So sounds like power and influence are not the same. A person can have influence and not power. Yes, ma'am, that is actually correct. So it's the capacity to regulate the brain intentionally. That's actual power. The power of your mind to be able to self-regulate under pressure in real time. So technically I'm an influencer. And so I have the ability to say, hey, if you are finding yourself lethargic and sluggish during the day, don't drink caffeine. What you actually need to do is drink Ensure. Now, my favorite brand of Ensure is vanilla, and I have been drinking Ensure since 2005. I'm 20 years in, and I tell you, Ensure is amazing. It is by far the best meal replacement that you will ever have in your life. And even now that I'm perimenopausal, what happens is when I drink my Ensure, I don't experience heartburn, I don't burp or anything, and it is the best on-the-go meal replacement that you will ever have in your entire life. Now, you can pick up this Ensure on my Amazon shop. You ain't even got to leave your house, and it will get delivered to your door. Go to my website, theturnarounddoctor.com, click on my Amazon shop, and go to the health section of my shop list and pick up your case of Ensure today. So that's influence. But me telling Kia, go over to Instagram and start your neuro reps, That's power. Did I answer your question, Denise? Very helpful. My supervisor has influence and not power because she's not self-regulated. That is correct. That is correct. Yes, ma'am. And Kia said, is borrowing the same as giving your power away? Is borrowing the same? People borrowing your power? Is that what you mean? My definition of power is me knowing that it's always there. Okay. So the updated definition is that it's a neurological control factor. You have the power to actually control your own brain. You actually do it, and you do it through daily neural reps to strengthen it, and then continue to make it strong and continue to challenge yourself, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Take risk and grow continually so your brain can get stronger and stronger. And in my case, I'm using myself as an example, more powerful than it was even 6 months ago. So it's neurological power. So Kia, if you're saying is borrowing the same as giving your power away, everyone has 86 billion neurons, and at no point should someone be borrowing any of your neurological capacity, ever. That's why it's Build a Brain. And you start on Instagram with the 7-day free trial of 7-day 60-second neural reps. No one should be borrowing your brain. Now, help others and empower others are 2 of the 74 principles of real leadership. So what you can do is help someone who is in need of short-term help. But that's not the same as borrowing, because they are, let's say you have a skill set. I believe you're a medical provider. And so let's say you have a new person at your job and they don't know where all of the equipment is for the work that you do. So then you can help them by showing them this is where everything is. It's in this order. Here's how we discard it when we're done. Take it over here. Go take your lunch over here. Don't eat from that restaurant. Everybody gets food poisoning and all of that. That's helping others. But if someone is missing a skill set that they should have had when they said yes to the job, then they're actually borrowing your PFC. Now, if they need to know how it's done where you all work versus somewhere else, you're helping others. But as soon as you move them out the way and you start doing it for them, now they are borrowing your prefrontal cortex and your brain power. And that's no braino. Please let me know if I've answered your question. You can do thumbs up or got it, unless you have a follow-up question. I will move on to the second question of the morning. My pleasure. Okay. And see, that's because I got neuro strength. That's why you got to go get your neuro reps in every day. That's how you're able to do that. All right. Number 2, how do you build your power? Is codependency borrowing something? Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Y'all can't co-use your brain. We're gonna use my brain for this. It is. Here's the thing, and I'm going to continue to say this. Everyone has 86 billion neurons. And dysregulated people keep making it seem like you got 86 billion and they got 12 million. That's what they make it seem like. No. See, because you got, no. They counted them. 2 French neuroscientists counted them. 86 billion. Unless something starts happening to you and they start dying, but you still sitting on billions. You still sitting on billions. That's what they want you to believe, because what happens is, the question is, how do you build your power? How do you build your power? So when in doubt, pull the 86 billion out. You're like, let me think about, you do realize that you have 86 billion neurons too. You have 86 billion neurons too. That's what you can tell people. I told y'all, it's like life. If you ever saw the movie Life, you can't have my cornbread. You can't have my neurons. The hell? You can tell all of them. Go to Instagram. Go to Turnaround Doctor's Instagram and start your 7-day free trial neural reps. You need to strengthen your mind. Just like you recommend gym memberships to people and eyelash brushes and all that other stuff, it's time for you to strengthen your brain. That's what it's time for you to do. You need a stronger, sounds like you need to strengthen your prefrontal cortex. Sounds like you have emotional dysregulation and you need emotional regulation with a strong prefrontal cortex. So it sounds like you need to go here, turn around. That you got Instagram. That's what you can do. And just send them on over to Instagram. And then that will determine if they're actually going to strengthen their brain. Because Jared he needed to restart and everybody was there to support his restart because Jared has been here since September of last year. So Jared gets that, not even grace, but support. But someone who's unwilling to strengthen their own brain does not, what did they do to earn your borrowed brain? What did they do? This ain't rent a car. You know what I'm saying? If your car is in the shop or you go on vacation, you go rent a car because you're not by your car and you pay the rental car people money and then you take the rental car back and then you leave. But taking and borrowing your neurons and your neural pathways, you don't have rent-a-brain. It's not rent-a-Brenda, rent-a-Vinny. They have decided that you are using your brain. And the question that you can also ask is what you've been doing with your own prefrontal cortex. While I was going to build mine, what were you doing with yours? Where's yours? It's like when people come to borrow money from you, you go, what you need this money for? When you going to pay me back? Somebody asks you for $500, you got a lot of questions. They might even have to sign a contract at $500. But people been borrowing your brain for decades. And you ain't never said, hold up, why you need my brain today? Why you need my brain today? What problem? You caused it, you solved it. Sounds like you need to I think you're at the point of needing to strengthen your PFC. Because what you're asking me to do that's for you, not for me. That's what's actually taking place. So if somebody came to you with a dollar amount, you would definitely, especially if you might have people can borrow $100 from you and you ain't gonna think about it. They get to $500 a stack. You're like, hold up, wait a minute. Where is this money going and why don't you have it? What day you get paid? Daisy said, I build power by thinking for myself while strengthening my PFC. Got it. Question on the table today is, how do you build your power? And there are 6 people on this live, but I only saw 2 people thinking. What are the other 4 people doing? Watching? Because you're not going to build your PFC by watching other people answer a question. That's not how that works. That's like going to the gym and watching other people work out. You still going to leave flabby and jiggly. You're going to be jiggling. By strengthening my PFC. Okay. So power is built through repeated successful self-regulation. So each time a person chooses discomfort over avoidance. So each time you do a neuro rep, you delay gratification, because that is the biggest. I would say if someone ever asked me, what is the biggest contributor to emotional dysregulation? I would say immediate gratification. That is how you continually become, because every time you don't delay gratification, you are strengthening your limbic system. You are strengthening Amy and Lala. Every time you get it right here, right now. It shows them that they don't have to wait. They don't have to work for it or anything. And so that's how they become more powerful than your prefrontal cortex. So that is the number one thing that's contributing to emotional dysregulation. And you follow through despite emotional resistance. When I say before you answer that question, type an ellipse, a thinking brain, an emoji, that is delayed gratification, because people want to respond instantly, implicitly. And what you have to do is stop. And now you have to type emoji, whatever, your choice of, hey, I'm thinking. And then you have to respond. So that is training your brain to, we used to call it at Frito-Lay, the knee-jerk response, the first response, which is not always the best response. So now you have to stop and think. And that sends notification, hey, prefrontal cortex, we have to answer this question. And that's who should be answering the question. When you answer immediately, that's your limbic system answering. And that's not their job to answer questions. It's not. Their job is alert and emotion. But it is not to answer a question, especially something as cognitively sound as how do you build your power? Now, the brain strengthens prefrontal cortex to limbic pathways. And this is neuroplasticity in action. So every time you stop, think, ... and then respond, you are actually strengthening your prefrontal cortex. So power is not a personality trait. It's a trained brain circuit. And Kia said, got to my new job and half an hour early. It's cold. My hands are in my pockets. Sorry, Doc and chat. I'm here. Okay, got it. Yes, ma'am. That's unfortunate for y'all that it's cold over there. That's why I left the East Coast. In Florida too. Okay. I didn't eat. It gets 70 up there. It's cold outside. All right. So the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the basal ganglia discipline loop, and your choice, your repetition, and your automaticity, all of that goes together. The ACC is the effort allocation and persistence under friction. And the insula is the interoceptive awareness and the dopamine pathways, rewards reassignment from relief to completion. So basically, power is built every time you don't negotiate with your emotions. That's basically what you all are saying, is that when you strengthen your prefrontal cortex, you are actually strengthening your PFC, and you're not negotiating with Amy and Lala. As soon as you start negotiating with them, you're going to lose if you have not. I would say, good morning, Jared. You need about 100 days in before you can even remotely start having conversations with Amy and Lala, because they've been dysregulating your whole life. And you are not just going 3 days in and be like, oh, I'm going to tell them what to do. No, you're not. We're talking about power today, Jared. It's not going to happen. All right, question number 3, and thank you all for responding. Question number 3 is, what takes place when you compromise your power? What takes place when you compromise your power? So Caramel Bonet, you on here and you ain't answering questions? And Miss Traceable? I know you might be getting ready for work, but you need to say that too. I wish YouTube had that feature. What takes place when you compromise your power? Daisy is thinking. Kia is thinking, and okay. You don't have text to speech on your phone? Look at me. What takes place when you compromise your power? And the reason why I'm saying this to you, Caramel Bonet and Kia, is because you all came here with a specific purpose. We all did. And you can't access that purpose by just listening to me. And so as an educator, it's my responsibility to empower you to be your best. And it's cool that you come over here and you listen, but it's not enough. Because what you actually came here to do can't get done because you don't have the neurological strength to get it done. That's why you got to start the neural reps. Because what you actually came here to do is, once your prefrontal cortex is stronger, you're not going to be able to get it done this way. That's why it's like, well, why the sudden change, Dr. Donna? Because it's time. Denise said, weakens my working memory. Miss Traceable, you start losing yourself, getting smaller and smaller internally. Not you, I. You got to switch that to yourself. So is what takes place for you. So then you say, this is what takes place for me. I start losing myself and getting smaller and smaller internally. This is me asking you. So then your answer is I. And Kia said, when I give my power away, I experience a sense of lesser value of my own knowing. Yeah, I know what you meant. And then Jared said, no progress on becoming your best. Daisy said, when I compromise my power, I lose control of myself. And Jared said, no progress on becoming my best. That is what is taking place for you all. Okay, what does the neuroscience say? When power is compromised, the brain downshifts from executive mode to survival mode. And that is what you are saying. You are saying, I'm shifting from my prefrontal cortex to my limbic system, and now I am in threat protection mode. Safety, safety, safety. I feel less than myself. And you do, because the thing that's making you feel powerful, the CPU, the CEO of your brain, has been compromised. And now it's over there in the corner or in the fetal position, and here come the almond twins. We got this. Move out the way. Ah! And then everything becomes fight, flight, freeze, or appease. So this happens through chronic self-betrayal. And remember, we had a live, I think last week, about self-betrayal. People-pleasing. Now you people-pleasing. That happens. I used to do that a little bit. My version of it anyway. So now you're people-pleasing. And anytime you find yourself betraying your actual self, the ACC will alert you, this ain't you. And then the people-pleasing will show up. That means it didn't get past Vinny. And instead of Darlene, it's Janice. And you already planning on how you're going to people-please. And then it's avoidance disguised as being flexible. Now, be flexible is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. But don't be a doormat is a slogan in Al-Anon. So flexible is not doormat. And if you find yourself being stumped off, if you ever, everybody got a doormat in front of their house, even if you're in an apartment, in an apartment building, you still got a doormat. Wipe your feet off before you come in my house. That's what all kind of pets pee on doormats and everything else. Amazon packages get thrown on a doormat, all of that. That's not being flexible. That's not what that is. That's being a doormat. And so it's disguised as being flexible. And then you're mythologizing and you're telling yourself that this is why you're doing this when it ain't true. It's not true at all. So over time, the brain learns, I am not reliable to myself. That's the self-betrayal. And so that erodes self-trust at a neural level. And we talked about establish trust and be trustworthy because that's one of the 74 principles of real leadership last Friday on the live with my daughter, Real Life, on YouTube at 5:30 a.m. And now you don't trust yourself. So now, because you don't trust yourself, because you betrayed yourself, you decrease your power, you start people pleasing, you start being what you think is flexible, but is actually being a doormat. And then the next thing you know, you ain't got no power. Your power is gone. You're powerless over your own brain and your own life because of dysregulated people and a weak prefrontal cortex. That's why y'all got to go strengthen your prefrontal cortex and start on Instagram. Because you're powerless in your life, in your own life, in your day-to-day. I think that's the biggest thing is that people don't understand. I'm not building a cult over here. I'm saying, do you want to be powerful and a bad mofo in your life where you are? Do you want to be in complete control of your entire day? You want to be cool as the other side of the pillow, regulated like a mofo, and neurologically astute? If you do, that's what that's for. That's for you. Your brain, you have 86 billion neurons that you're not accessing. You got 86 billion neurons and you over here acting like you got 10 and no power whatsoever. Like you can't think your way out of that situation, and you can with a stronger brain. That's how if you sit there like, I hate this job. I hate him. I hate her. I won't be around none of this. But cognitively, you can't action plan to get out of there because your brain is weak, because you gave all your power away. You know when your phone get down to 15, you making all kind of different. I can't call them. I can't talk shit. I mean, listen, I'm gonna text you when I get home because I ain't got no power. But that's your day-to-day life. That's your existence. You ain't got no power. You wake up on 4% and go to sleep on 1%, 0.5%. You're not even at 20% neurological capacity. And you're attempting to navigate through the day. That's absurd. That's not gonna work. You ever tried to run and exercise when your stomach is growling? That's going to be a bad workout. And now you're constantly doing that. The brain needs rest, strength. It needs regulation. It needs challenge and growth. And it's not this, well, I'm going to endure it. I'm going to endure it. That's some dysregulated shit right there. That's no braino. And you're letting people, you barely got, imagine if your phone is at 20% and you about to charge it and somebody say, hey, can I borrow your charger? And their phone is at 80%. No, my phone is at 20%. Yeah, but I want to get my phone to 100%. I'm at 20%, you're at 80%. Sounds like you need to go buy a new charger. That's what it sounds like. And that's what you're doing. You're allowing people to use your charger. And you're there. Now you got them, you walking around with a power cord on the front of your chest and people just plugging into you, plugging into you, plugging into you. And you ain't plugged into the wall. And they're just operating off of your power. That's what's taking place. That's what happens when you compromise your power. You have a weakened ventral medial prefrontal cortex. You have unresolved conflict with the ACC. Your amygdala is increased to sensitivity to social threat and rejection because you're so weak. And the basal ganglia is in an avoidance and appeasing habit loop. And that becomes the I just don't have the strength to argue with you. Okay, yes, you can take my car. Okay, I know you need some money. It's the end of the month. You start saving money because it's the end of the month for the people that keep borrowing money from you that ain't going to pay you back. You got to protect your energy. So the takeaway is this. Every time you compromise your power, your brain updates your file. I can't be trusted. Self-betrayal. Every time. No one deserves your power. Everybody has 86 billion neurons. My daughter has 3 mental illnesses, and I would tell her, I don't give a fuck about your mental illnesses. This is what the fuck you need to learn how to do. Here go the strategy for it. I don't care about that. We call her autism Audie. Audie is fucking tripping. Your eyebrows, look at you right now. You go work that shit out and come back and talk to me. I want to talk to Nola. I don't talk to Audie. That's your mental illness. We put things in place, and right now you're not using them. You trying to borrow my PFC, and that shit ain't gonna work. Go away. Go fix that shit. Go use your systems and come back when you regulate it. I'm not about to be putting up. That's your mental illness, not mine. And I know y'all probably thinking, damn, that's cold-blooded. No, the fucking ain't. We ain't got no fucking blankets over here. We're not hugging it out and all of that because the shit is neurological. There's benefits to having autism. And so she uses the benefits of it, and then the cons of it are mitigated through neurological systems that are in place. Ain't nobody got time for that. Punching no damn walls and all that. We're not doing that. Not at all. You're going to fix that shit. And it works. So, yeah, we're not tapping into my power. You're going to use your own power. How you going to navigate through life if you use my power for your autism? That don't make no damn sense. None whatsoever. So now, question number 4. What do you do daily to strengthen your power? What do you do daily to strengthen your power? And for those of you who can attend the YouTube live, attend it, because this is about relationships and your ventral ACC versus your cognitive ACC. You're going to be shocked as shit. And if you can't attend, then you need to watch the replay. Because I clutched my own real leader pearls. First I thought of it and I said, wait a minute. And I said, yeah, I'm right. And there is a third ACC, the dorsal ACC. I'm like, these. Every time. Like, we gonna be talking about the damn ACC forever. I ain't gonna never get back to social judgment theory. What do you do daily to strengthen your power? And don't just put strengthen my PFC. That ain't enough. What are the actual actions that you're taking? You'll hear my stomach digesting my oatmeal ever since my surgery. I got a new phone case. That's what's happening. I feel small on here. I got the power. Sounds like those brain parts are multiplying fast Is that a question, Daisy? Neural reps, brain dumps. Oh, you talking about me with the somatic, with the ACC? Neural reps, brain dumps, reading, breathing, and meditation. I will need to stay focused under pressure and keep doing neural reps. I work on my goals. Yes, they are. I promise you, Daisy, my doggone chat. If I do the live too early in the day, I could have 7 more chat conversations between me preparing for the live and between my neuroscience course and me just thinking in my default mode network. Yep. And if people told me don't use chat this time last year, waiting on the industry to catch up with my brain, absolutely not. And what's your answer, Daisy? What do you do daily to strengthen your power? Yeah, it's that under pressure that takes everybody out, Denise. That under pressure, I don't care how much training. That's why when I was in the military, you gotta train to the point where it becomes part of your muscle memory, so you could do it in your sleep. It becomes implicit. And that's why the levels are so many days, because it has to be implicit. Your whole entire life has been on a dysregulated system. So you're not going to just go from, oh, my brain is strong. It's not going to happen like that. You got to think of bodybuilders and how long it takes them to get all those muscles, those specific muscles to pop up and show. That's what you're doing neurologically. You have to strengthen every region of your brain, starting with the prefrontal cortex. So there's no way that if you're 50 and you've been dysregulated for 50 years, that in 2 days, you're going to have a strong brain. And that's why people can't even finish the 7-day free trial, because Amy and Lala are like, this is not happening fast enough. Okay, well, your brain is atrophied. So you're going to have to do a lot. What a lot? Daisy, we're just waiting on your response. Right. This is specifically what I've been struggling with. Yes, ma'am. Everybody has. Everybody has. That's why I'm here. I strengthen my power by staying on top of all my goals. Okay. Thank you all for answering. Here is the neuroscience behind that. Daily power comes from micro acts of integrity. Small, repeatable actions that align with intention, behavior, and identity. And you all said that I'm working on my goals. And so it's this individual, incremental effort that happens. And that's why the tagline for me is it's in your daily. It's in your daily. When you do something every day for a whole year, you have 365 days of getting that done. Today is number 825 of me going live. So this presentation of me and everything that I know today is not what it looked like even 600 days ago. Well, probably maybe 500 days ago. It didn't start to really start forming until the back half of 2024. So this whole notion, this dysregulated notion is that it has to happen fast. Anytime somebody tells you a life hack, this is the quickest way to get it done, not the efficient way or the best way, they are saying this thing is going to strengthen your limbic system so you don't have to use your brain. And I'm saying, no, fuck that. You got to use your brain over here. It's neural sweat equity over here. It's not a matter of, oh, I want to be a VIP. I want to get to level 5. Okay, cool. Well, you're going to start at level 1. You're going to start at day 1, Instagram 7-day free trial. That's what you're going to do. I don't really care who you are, because your brain ain't ready for level 5. It's not. It actually isn't. And I know that to be true now. I've done enough research and work and incrementally experimented. And I'm like, no, you need to go all the way back over there and start at level 1 over there. So what do you do daily to strengthen your power? Here's the neuroscience. Daily power comes from, and I said this, acts of integrity. Small, repeatable actions that align with intention, behavior, and identity. And these acts reinforce prefrontal cortex dominance. That's what you want. Prefrontal cortex dominance. The power has to come from the prefrontal cortex. If not, it's going to be no-brainer. Stabilized emotional reactivity. This is how you'll know that your brain is being strengthened, when you do enough neural reps for yourself. Things that you used to automatically react to, you don't. You find yourself thinking before responding, and you're not reacting anymore. When you start having neural clarity and you just start putting things together that have been eluding you for quite some time, that's how you know that your brain strength is improving. When you say, well, you know what? I'm going to start learning a foreign language. I think I'm in Jared's case. I'm going to go to Toastmasters. Daisy, I'm going to try this new, I'm going to attempt to do, or I'm going to go after doing this new leather pattern making stitch. That's when you know that your brain is now operating at a higher level. And then you build identity level confidence, not mood-based confidence. What I used to do, and I've said this before, man, you see me, you're like, man, that looked like money right there. Look at all that she got on. And the more I started studying the brain, the more I started learning, the more shit I started taking off. To the point where I won't say that because all my jeans are Lucky Brand. But the point is, I don't have to have all that on anymore. I don't have to have it on a t-shirt and some jeans and some Chuck Taylors and have as much, if not more confidence than all that other stuff on because of what I built in the last 12 and a half years. So it is this incremental internal action that you take that's basically invisible to everybody else until it's not. Confidence is an inside out job. And in dysregulated systems, they make you think you can buy it, you can put it on, you can purchase it, and all of that. I live in a neighborhood where people got money, go to Whole Foods, I'll get dressed, and now I'm getting a side eye. I told you about the one lady that came all the way up to me at Nana's home style chicken soup and just having a problem and can't figure out why. They cannot figure out why because they thought that they could go buy it. They thought they could put it on and you got to become it. You actually have to do the neural work every day, day in and day out for it to look like confidence on the outside. Because you started and took my wig off the other day on the live. So it ain't the hair. It ain't the lipstick. That's not what it ain't the brain t-shirts. It's me. Because of this incremental work, 12 and a half years in just on this part of my life. So your power comes from your daily. That's why I'm saying go start the neural reps. A promotion at work is not going to give you the power. Marrying somebody is not going to give you the power. Divorcing somebody will give you the power because that takes strength. You still going to have to build it because you will flatline if you don't keep growing. So this power that I have, I'm telling you, it's in the neural reps. It's in the neural reps. It's not no magic potion. I'm not selling you sand at the beach. I'm telling you, you need to strengthen your brain every single day. And then all of a sudden, you're going to look up and be like, I'm a bad mofo. And that stuff don't bother me no more. So the brain circuits involved is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Miss Darlene, that's your daily intentional actions. I intend to complete my neural reps every day. I intend to do that because that's enough to quiet the limbic system and strengthen the prefrontal cortex. The ACC, Miss Brenda Jones, is consistency monitoring and effort calibration. Did you do your neural rep? Did you do your neural rep today? Did you do your neural rep? Oh, I see. So you're going to chill first and you ain't did your neural rep. Okay, cool. Got it. All right. How's that working out for you? Okay. The basal ganglia is habit encoding a follow through. I am doing this because this is a habit and I'm going to build better habits off of the foundation of this neural habit. And now all of these other things get organized and stay organized. Then you start using all the 74 principles of world leadership because you are now strong enough neurologically to implement those in your day-to-day life as you need them. And then the ventromedial prefrontal cortex is the identity consolidation. And this is important. Your personality is in your prefrontal cortex. It's in your prefrontal cortex. Who I'm is up here, not here in the limbic system. It's not. If you find yourself looking like a clone, copying the friend group, the family group, doing what's on trend, that's not you. That's not you. I'm a sneakerhead. I got sneakers. My daughter got sneakers. We don't have the same sneakers, and I don't have the trendy sneakers. I got the sneakers that work best for my wardrobe. So they slick, but they're not the new. They're not the, ooh, I got them first. That's not it. I'm not saying don't put on clothes. I'm not saying don't be groomed when you go outside, but I'm saying if you on trend, that's not you. That's not you. If you look like everybody else, you are not in your prefrontal cortex. I'm not saying don't go, if you like getting your nails done, I'm not saying don't have any of those things, but I'm saying they need to be customized because it matches you. Your appearance is a reflection of you or not you. And that's why it's so important for you to be in your prefrontal cortex because your personal identity is going to say, yeah, we ain't doing that. I'm a size 2. I could pop it and drop it. I could put on the poom poom shorts right now. I'm not doing that. I'm 52 years old. I did that already. I already was at Freaknik with cut off Daisy Dukes on. I did that already. I'm not doing that again just because I'm the size that I was then. I'm not about to do that. I'm an old lady. So I will put on regular shorts. But I'm not about to do that. I'm not about to be in the leggings with a sports bra on, walking through Whole Foods with my hair, my wig up in a bun and some sunglasses, getting some Nana's home chicken noodle soup. That's just me. Other people can. But if you had on stretch pants, then do you still need to do that again? That's my question. Just a thought. If you did that already, evolve into something else. Do something different. But if you don't know who you are, then you will continue to do that. And I'm not telling you don't wear that. I'm saying wear that because that's who you are and not because athleisure is a thing now. Or anything else for that matter. If you don't drink, don't drink. That's not something you do. Do not allow people to say, well, it's just one. It's just when we all doing it. No. If you don't attend religious services, don't go. Do not have your family guilting you into, well, we was raised Baptist. Well, yeah, that's y'all. I'm good. I don't need to do that. So that's what I'm saying. Tap into your power. Use your prefrontal cortex for your life because it is your life. You take you wherever you go. And you need to be taking the best version of you wherever you go. Even if it's to CVS to pick up some doggone cough syrup. Whatever it is. You take the best of you wherever you go. And you can't do that if you don't have any power. If you don't have any power, people can tell you who you are. If you don't have any power, you will acquiesce. You will take the path of least resistance because you don't have the power to stand up for yourself and handle conflict when it occurs and tell people, no, I'm not doing that. I'm doing this. It's only going to happen through neural reps. Nothing else is going to strengthen your prefrontal cortex on a daily basis because the people who are telling you to do it aren't there every day. They don't have a track record of it's in your daily. They don't have, like me, 10 years of posting consecutively on Instagram, soon to be 10 years on March 8th on Snapchat. That's a long ass streak. They don't have that. They can't tell you how to do it it's in their daily. They don't. And so I'm saying, if there was a different way, I would tell you what that is. But this is the best way to strengthen this. Grab a heart, me, y'all. Thank you. I see. It's okay. Now I forgot. Kia, because it's spelled different. Got it. So my point is, power isn't built in big moments. It's built in what you do when no one else is watching. For a long time, nobody else was watching me. For a very long time, no one else was watching me. And now people are. And I'm ready for that. I'm ready. I have information, and every day I'm still in neuroscience classes. I got brain books that I just got from the library on Saturday. So I'm not stopping because we have 5.9 billion adults that don't know how to use their brain. So if it is to be, it's up to me to teach you how to get this done. But your role in this is to go get it done. Your role is to go and say, fuck Amy and Lala. I need to start strengthening my brain. That's the only way the world is ever going to change. When adults understand, everyday adults understand how their brain functions so they can be high functioning. So I'm going to leave you with this. So I want to make sure that my live is under an hour so it's easier for me to download and cut and all that. I was in my neuroscience course yesterday and I was gagging because she was showing parts of the brain again. So I was because she was pulling out the hippocampus. She was pulling out the doggone medulla and stuffing it back in and pulling it out, stuffing it back in. And I was like, she had it. It was bad. I was like, oh God, I'm glad I ate lunch. Anyway, in between me gagging to get through that, here's what I realized. That group of academics believe that everyday people only deserve to be functioning and normal. They don't even believe that we're worth knowing how our brain functions so we could be high functioning because somehow they think we're not going to be able to handle knowing how our brain functions when we all got 86 billion neurons. That didn't sit well with me when that came to me in between me. That's why all therapy and everything is to get you back to normal. Because they don't believe that you can be extraordinary too. Fuck them. I got a regular IQ. I am an everyday person. And I had to work for everything that I got. But that's why it's not getting down to the best level. Because you should just be functioning. You're not going to be able to handle to know what a parasympathetic nerve is and a sympathetic nerve. Why not? If we all got 86 billion neurons. So that's why I'm here, to give you the opportunity. Now, is everybody going to strengthen their prefrontal cortex? No. But don't you deserve to have the chance to see if this is something that you want to do? You deserve the right to know how your brain functions. And then if you decide, yeah, that's too much, let that be your decision. They shouldn't get the right to tell us that we don't deserve to learn how our brain functions, and the only thing we deserve is to be normal. Fuck normal. Normal is some bullshit. I'm not going to be normal for your fucking comfort. Fuck you. That's why I do this work. That's why I literally almost threw up about 7 times watching that one segment of that class. And I ain't lying, that shit was gross as hell. And I sat through it to get some information, to see what information I needed to give to y'all. It was very disgusting for me. And it was about, out of 27 lessons, I think 20 of them, she was holding a brain or some part of a brain. I'm about to gag now. Okay. And I just realized I could go over because I don't have to put this back on TikTok. That just occurred to me. This goes on YouTube. So yeah, I've been sitting through all of this information and scouring and scavenging the earth, and that came to me in my mind, which was one, as I told you, Daisy, one of those chats that I had with Chad. I said, oh, this is some bullshit. Y'all think y'all the only ones with 86 billion neurons. Motherfucker, we all got them. No, we're going to learn how our brain functions, and we're going to become high functioning in our everyday life. I'm like, it's not like I want to run for president. I don't, but I do want to be able to undo all the dysregulated shit that has occurred in the 52 years that I've been here, just so I can manage my day at a high ass level. I would like to have neural clarity and peace all day long. And I'm getting there. That's why I need to study the brain, master the brain, teach others how to do the same, so the people in the world will forever be changed. This isn't, oh, we're going to take over. Jared, you just want to stop eating honey buns and get to 200 pounds and know why you were eating honey buns and how you got over 200 pounds. That's all. Denise, you are simply working at your job and doing what you need to do. This isn't a matter of you about to take over the whole fucking company. You might not even like that company. That's it. Daisy, you doing leather work. You want to know what is the best way to do that. It's self-regulation. So you're not cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That's it. And every adult deserves that opportunity to wake up every day in the life that you actually chose, to be with someone that you actually want to be with, not because it looked good on paper or y'all been together for 150 years. That's what this is about. Right. You want neurological control over your body, your brain, your life. That's it. So that's why I'm over here like, damn, it's fucking... Okay, so now it's 3 ACCs. All right, y'all should have saw me getting ready. I was like, okay, well, I guess Tuesday is going to be about the dorsal ACC. The fuck, chat, what is the difference between the cognitive ACC and the dorsal ACC? I got to get this live done tomorrow. Okay, another damn lesson. All right. Social judgment theory gets moved back to Wednesday because this information is more important. I'm saying, I keep showing y'all this. All this is for my classes. If y'all can see this stack and how many different Post-it notes that actually is, that I was waiting until we got through with the 74, it's how many different colors it is. That shows you the timing of it all those different, they come in a little thing, like 40 posters on there. That's what's taking place. That's how much we still need to know. That's me taking this one, like, so for example, this says parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system. So now this has to turn into a YouTube live. This note, recognition distortion, has to turn into a whole, that's what I told y'all, I'm scouring the earth. Addison's disease, lack of cortisol. Somebody told me about that. I got to see if this is important. So all of this perception, action loop research. I don't know what the fuck that is. They said it in class. So now I got to go, I heard it. Let me write this down. Let me go figure out what it is. Let me put it through the Dr. Donna brain whispering meter and then give it back to y'all. So then you can actually understand it. And I've said this, no one's coming. No one's telling you anything. Normal. First you have to have a problem, and then you either have to have a diseased brain or a dysfunctional brain, and then we're going to get you to functioning. But we're not going to tell you you're the CEO of Me Incorporated, the leader of your life, and you can lead your life to become your best. There is no system past normalcy until now. That's why Caramel Bonet and Kia, I'm telling you, this is how you're going to get it together. It's not going to work the other way around. And they have you believing that it can work the other way around. I just need 30 days. I just need to go, no. You need to strengthen this. That's the only way it's going to work. And it's one day at a time, like any 12-step program. Okay. I thank you all for your time and your ability to listen to what I'm saying and actually engage in this content to understand more about power. Like I said, I will be talking about the ventral ACC as well as the cognitive ACC today with respect to relationships. And again, I am learning this information in full time. I am creating things that don't exist. So give me a minute because we just switched over to this new format. So it's hot off the presses. That's what it is. I want to grow in this type of surgery I assist in until I'm assuring neural rep of the brain and my goal. Sorry for all the typos. The brain and the heart and my goals. And I'm saying the only way that you can do that, Kia, is, and you should know, you may or may not know this, that the dentate gyrus located in the hippocampus is where the new neurons for the adult brain is located for new learning. And the only way to be able to do that is to yes, you want to assist in brain and heart surgeries. Yes, ma'am. So you have to strengthen your own brain to be able to do that. And I commend you for being able to do that because, again, my gag reflux for my course with her holding that brain and pulling it apart and pulling things in, and I was like, okay. I'm glad that module is over, and I hope we're finished with that. The skeletons didn't really bother me. Her holding the brains didn't bother me. But when she started pulling it open and showing the Alzheimer's brain, and showing and digging and showing the hippocampus, what it's supposed to look like, what it looks like in a brain that had Alzheimer's after the person, I was like, okay, this ain't my thing. I can even watch blood and gore, but that her holding something about it just didn't. My soul was just like, we got another class. Okay, got it. All right, this is the occipital lobe. And then she kept pulling the dura, and she kept pulling the anacroid, and then she kept saying, this is a pia. All right, now this skull on here. And then she put it back in the skull. And I was like, okay, it's a lot. It's a lot for me, this part. And it didn't bother Nola. But then as soon as I started talking about brain bleeds to Nola, and she, I want to hear it. I'm like, no, but this is what happens when you have a concussion. And then the brain is going. So I can talk about the blood and everything else. I can see it. But as soon as it's just the brain, gone, no vessels, not attached to the skull anymore in your hand. So yeah, those are real MVPs for sure. Like she was just like, it was like it was a recipe. She was cooking. But I'm doing that because we need this information. So yeah, Caramel, Bonet, and Kia, it's time. It's time. Y'all been over here enough. You gotta start strengthening your brain. Listening to me is not enough. You're never gonna get new neural pathways and a strong prefrontal cortex just listening to me. It's not enough. It's not. Y'all got greatness, especially since you saying you want to assist in brain and heart surgeries. You better run. As soon as you get in that building and warm up, you better go over to Turnaround Doctor on Instagram and get started. Because what we need is what you're doing. We definitely need you assisting with brain and heart surgeries. Yes, ma'am, we do. And Jared works at the post office in Carmel Brunei. I don't know if that's going to be your final position, but we need the damn post office too. Y'all are essential workers. Point blank, period. Y'all matter in our everyday lives. That's how I see that. Okay, now I got to pee. Again, if you can't attend the YouTube live, go and watch the replay because everybody has relationships. You're a carrier too? Oh, look, okay. Yes, you are essential to the mug. Yes, ma'am. In the elements. Got it. Very much essential. Yep. Very much. Okay. Thank you for that information. I will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place in Detroit. You are from Detroit? You know I'm from Detroit, right? I went to Cass in Eastern Michigan. You carrying the mail in Detroit? Bless your soul. Bless your soul. Bless your soul. Listen, listen. Bless your soul and your children's soul and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren's soul in Detroit. Yeah, you the real MVP. And Jared is telling you that he's in Cincinnati in the distribution center. Yeah. Yeah, bless your ever-loving soul. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are. You're essential. Yep. My Uncle Perry was a mail carrier in Detroit. That part. And my high school friend's mother was a mail carrier. It is. It's hard fucking work. Yes, it is. Because in Detroit, depending on where you are, you might be going up to everybody's house putting the mail in. Everybody's mailbox ain't at the driveway. And then you still, even if you're that one, you still got to drive in that snow and that weather. Thank you. They went Case. What is that? Finkel. Oh my God. You a mail carrier off of Finkel. Damn. Yeah, yeah, you like that. That you built different. Off of Finkel. Oh yeah. I can't even whistle right now. Damn. Okay. Well, you can do this newer rep then. You doing all that? You got these newer reps. This ain't no thing but a chicken fight. You got this. You definitely gonna be, yes. Woo! Never see Dr. Donna react like that. Laugh out loud. Finkel must be a doozy. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All of it. The whole thing. The inclement weather, where the carrier, the neighbor. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. I see you. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yeah. You can handle the neuro reps. No problem. All right. I got to go, y'all. I got to pee. I got to get ready for my other live. Damn. Okay. You all go off. I'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, safe space, different brand t-shirt. And these my brand t-shirts are now available in my Amazon shop with some other ones over there. You go to the website, turnarounddoctor.com, click on the Amazon shop, get your own brand t-shirt over there. I will be adding more brand t-shirts later on today. You all go off and have a brand-tastic day. Stay safe, stay warm for those of you who are in cold weather climates, and adios.